priority is reversed. You have priority when you enter. It's heaven in Greek language. According to the Greek mythology, it was heaven. And fields, because believe it or not, but 200 years ago there was nothing here, just fields used to grow cereals. So this land didn't worth anything 200 years ago. Now it's probably one of the most expensive avenues in town.
So this is the equivalent of maybe Madison Avenue, New York City, Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Avenue, yes.
But prettier.
To your left, here is the Lido de Paris, a very famous Parisian cabaret. This is the right place in Paris to have fun, especially at night. You will find a lot of restaurants, movie theaters, discotheques. Restaurants, cafes, and bars. And also some deluxe shopping galleries.
Our hotel.
Streets. I don't remember well.
That's weird.
You should ask the hotel before desk.
Parfume.
Attractions are
They have also baby doll. Baby doll is very light.
Baby doll.
So we are now in the part of Paris called, this quarter is called Europe Quarter because all the streets here have the name of a European city. We are in Rome Street, capital city of Italy. We are going to turn right, that's Vienna Street. We are now going to the very northern extremity of Paris to make our second stop on the top of Montmartre hill in order to discover this little village where a lot of painters belonging to the Impressionist movement lived in the late 19th century. Until the late 19th century, Montmartre village was considered as nothing but one of the numerous little villages that we had outside Paris. This village was incorporated to the city of Paris only in the late 19th hill, so the access to this village has never been particularly easy, especially 100 years ago when it was a privilege to have a car. So nobody wanted to live there, except those who didn't have choice, the poorest people. And all these painters, such as Claude Monet, more to express, to show you through the composition of their paintings and the way they were mixing the colors to show you their feelings, their emotions. That was very new, and in these days, 100 years ago, a little bit more than 100 years ago. So all these painters actually painted views of Montmartre, windmills, streets, cabarets. So nowadays Montmartre is the only little village that remains. All the others that we had in the past were or were not incorporated to the city of Paris, and all of them have lost their original aspect. I mean that you can go anywhere you want in Paris or even outside Paris. You will never find any place like Montmartre village. It's very unique and also very quiet, very residential. The traffic in Montmartre village is extremely limited, not only because the streets are very narrow, but mainly because there is only one street that goes all the way to the top and one that goes all the way down. Both of them are one-way streets, and both of them are situated on the northern side of the hill. So if my fist is Montmartre hill, we are here, we want to go there, we have to turn around and turn right or left. But Montmartre is a place that we never drive through. So basically people who live up the Middle Ages. after the next second traffic light, we will find the only one-way street that will take us to the very top of the hill, to Montmartre village. Of course, on this hill, the higher you live, the more expensive it is.
So in the past, only the poor lived here, but
Yes.
now it's
Well, now
very
it's
pricey.
it's one of the most expensive places to live in Paris because it's very quiet, very residential, very limited traffic. It's the birthplace of the Impressionist movement, and it's a very unique place. When you're in Montmartre, you don't feel like you're in Paris anymore, but more like if you would be in a countryside village.
Whoa. Wow. Oh my God.
So if you look left, you look south, and as you can see on this side of Montmartre hill, there isn't any streets, nothing but stairs. You can recognize the Montparnasse Tower. It is the Sacred Heart Basilica that was designed by the architect Abadi, built between 1875 and 1919. If you want to visit during your free time, we are going to stop a little bit higher. If you want to visit the Sacred Heart Basilica, there is no entrance fee, but keep in mind that inside it's forbidden to take pictures even without flash. You cannot use your video camera. Talking is not even permitted.
In where?
In the basilica that is on your right.
Okay, thank you.
Sacred Heart Basilica.
not a good picture. It's too close.
We are going to make our stop just at the entrance of the village.
This is beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
surprise place.
Bollywood. So in front of us is the backside of the Opera House that was inaugurated in 1875. It was designed by a young architect, Mr. Charles Garnier, as he was only 33 years old when he was commissioned to build his project. You remember the petition that was sent to Gustave Eiffel demanding to stop the construction of his ugly tower? Charles Garnier signed it. So this is a typical architecture from the late 19th century, just like the Eiffel Tower, a metallic structure, but covered by stone, so you don't see anything of the structure. For only 2,500 people, city spectators. So it was built under Napoleon III, the Emperor of France, and here is on your left the imperial entrance that was reserved to Napoleon III, his wife, his guests. This entrance that has two columns supporting statues of eagles. The eagle was the symbol of Napoleon III. The statue in the center of this entrance represents the architect Charles Garnier. It looks all brand new, this opera house, because it was restored for the first time. Millions of euros to restore it.
Wow.
Coming up to your left hand side now is the main facade, main entrance. In the 19th century, the opera house was the meeting place of the high society. It was not a place to see a show, to see anything. Nobody cared about what was going on. In front of us now is the Austerlitz column. It's a column made out of bronze. This bronze provides from 1,200 British cannons that were confiscated by the French troops after Austerlitz battle that Napoleon I won in 1806. So it was actually to humiliate the British that we took their cannons, that we melted them to erect, to make this column that supports the statue of the Emperor. So this column is in the center of Vanduul Square, which is in my opinion the nicest square that we have in town. That was designed during the second part of the 17th century by the architect Jules Hardouin Mansart. It was built under the reign of King Louis XIV and in honor of Louis XIV, who was also called the Sun King, and the sun was his emblem. That's why you can see all these little gilded suns that are in the center of all the balconies of this square and just above the shops. Most of these shops are the most prestigious jewelers that we have in Paris. They're especially on your left, where you find the chic and elegant boutiques of Chaumet, Dior, Cartier.
That sounds like the typical answer you were getting in New York City or Boston.
Yes, we do.
Depends on the traffic. That is funny.
So the Louvre is in front of us. So the building, you can see, was the construction started in the early 16th